Hey guys, how are we today? How are we? I had been going live on Mondays once a week, and this week you guys know that I missed the 1 week because of my mouth. So I wanted to make up for that. And this case has been on my mind a whole lot, you guys, and I figured you guys might want to talk about it too. But I do have to tell you guys that there was some good news. We can't talk about it a whole lot this week because Aaron's here and the dentist makes her really But they did approve my root canal, so I'll be doing that in about 2 weeks. So then hopefully I'll be done with all of this mess and won't have to worry about it anymore. But how are you guys? It's so good to see you guys. We have Trista. Hey, Trista. She has a day off today, which is great. And Heather Bratt. Hey, it's always good to see you. And Thistle, how are you? How are you? Sometimes I say my mouth. Oh, how are you guys today? Have you guys heard about this case? It happened a week ago yesterday now, and it seems like you guys know after the hey Astro, it's good to see you. Well, that's great. Thank you so much. Um, it seems like you guys know we had the I-75 shooter, and then last week we had this happen. It seems like for a while it was everything was happening in Florida, and then it was Colorado for a while, but it seems like is just wilding out lately, you know? And I don't know, I haven't looked back in history to look at the stats or anything, but I don't ever remember this happening ever where a usually, the court staff is protected by the sheriffs. The sheriff is supposed to protect everybody, and especially not to be the one that causes the hurt and the damage and the chaos, you know? Uh, yeah, he must be, Heather. I know. Yeah, Florida man is on vacation. Wonder where he goes on vacation because he lives where most people go on vacation, huh? Good question. Okay, you guys, so let's see. We'll just go ahead and get started. Um, Let me get us there. Okay. Hang on just 1 second. I have to make us bigger. So, first of all, did you guys even know where Letcher County, Kentucky was? It is on the far east side on the Virginia border. And everybody is saying that, well, Letcher County, it does have a small population of about 1,700, which is small for a city, really small. But the county, it's Letcher County, and this happened at the Letcher County Courthouse. And in 2010, they had a population of about 24,000. So it is kind of big in that aspect. But listening to the people, you guys, it reminds me of my holler so much. I don't live close to there, but it seems like about the same kind of vibe and stuff like that. Um, let's see here. So first, let's talk about the two men that were involved. And here's a picture of the courthouse. Um, so this is Sean Mickey Stines, and he goes by Mickey Stines, Sheriff Mickey Stines, and he is a few years older than me. And I was looking back at what I could tell, and it seemed like he went straight into law enforcement straight out of high school. And he worked for a Neon police officer, and that's a town really, really close. It's part of the county too. And then he started working for the sheriff in this county. And then there was a sheriff named Danny Webb, and he was the sheriff before Mickey won sheriff. But he was a sheriff under him for a long, long time. And he was actually a bailiff at the courthouse for the the judge that we're going to talk about today. So he was a bailiff at the courthouse for Judge Mullins. And then in 2018, he won sheriff. He won the election for sheriff. And then he won it again in 2022. And there's some articles now that I've seen where this was going to be, he wasn't planning on running again. He'd actually told um, somebody else in the town that he might plan on going to law school after he made it through these years, so he wasn't planning on running it again. So it seems like this whole time he's been in law enforcement. And let's see here, and this is where he won the sheriff. And then this is Kevin Mullins, a victim in this case. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys that Sheriff Stines, he's 43 right now. And Mr. Kevin Mullins, he was 54 years old when he lost his life. Not yesterday, but the Thursday before that. And he was a Commonwealth prosecutor and for 9.5 years. And then in 2009, you guys know the governor of Kentucky right now is Bashir. Well, before that was his dad, and his dad was the one that appointed Mr. Mullins to the bench, and then the next year he beat out 2 other candidates and he was elected. So he has been the 47th Judicial District Judge in Letcher County since 2009. And I didn't know what a district judge did. So they only had 1 judge in this county, you guys. And now Heather Bratt says, yeesh, what a mess. He threw it all away. Yep, he absolutely did. And that's what we're going to talk about. What would make a man who was in law enforcement his whole adult life do this? You know, there hasn't been any motives stated publicly yet. That reminds me, there is a lot of rumors going around, and it was the same day that I started looking online, and rumors about his wife and his daughter were the first thing that came about. And although I do agree that it would have to take something big for a man to kill, basically they were friends, they worked together all day long for years. For him to not only kill him but shoot him 8 times, it had to be something really big. But what I'm going to ask you guys is not to say anything about his daughter. Actually, if you try to type his daughter or Kevin's daughters, if you try to type their names in the chat, I have blocked them for today, because no matter what these grown folks did, she's 17 and she has to go back to school. And if any of those rumors are true, she's definitely a victim. None of it was her fault. So I would appreciate it if you guys didn't talk about her. But okay, so, and I had to think about it, you guys, because I don't want to stifle what you guys can say. But just like I said, she is a victim either way, and there's absolutely no facts that I've seen about that. Hey, Tony, it's good to see you. How are you? Okay, so let's get back to this Kevin Mullins. So, and I had to look up what a district judge did, and it says that they handle lawsuits where the amount is less than $4,000 or crimes involving less than 1 year in the county jail or probate matters and DV and child abuse cases. So that's what they did. Heather Bratt says, I could never. There's no validation to the rumors, nor would I want to put that on anyone's child. Yeah, absolutely, Bratt. That's the same way I felt. So I'm glad that you guys agree and concur with me. So Kevin Mullins, when he was a prosecutor, he focused a lot on drug-related offenses. So when he became a judge, everybody will tell you that he tried to put people that committed drug offenses, he tried to get them help instead of sending them straight to jail. He actually came up with a program, and it's implemented in at least 50 counties now. And Kentucky has 120 counties. I remembered from school. I don't know how I remembered that, but so almost half of the counties are doing his program, and they have a peer um, support group. Somebody in the courthouse will. It's somebody is there to help somebody when they need it. And actually, those two men had a lot in common because, hey, Aaron, good to see you. How are you? They had a lot in common because Sheriff Stines would actually drive some of the offenders to treatment. So that was the focus for both of them, a really big focus for both of them. Um, let me see here. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys, and Kevin Mullins has a wife and two daughters too, kids. That's another thing, Brad. He didn't throw his life away, but he took a father from his kids too. And here's another thing about small towns. So District Judge Mullins and the Commonwealth prosecutor in that case, they they were married to sisters for many years, and he said Matt Butler is his name, and he did a video on Facebook, and I'll show you guys that here in a little bit. And he talks about how he had to recuse himself from the case, of course, because they were married to sisters for a long time. And he was talking about how Judge Mullins had endless patience for children and how his kids loved him and they called him Unky. And he's asking everybody to stop with the rumors too. And I think that's something good for us to play here in a little bit. But so he had to recuse himself. And so but they do have a special prosecutor coming in. And when the judge was arrested, they took him to a neighboring county, Leslie County, and his first arraignment was in Carter County, and they had to bring a special prosecutor in. So that's another thing that's going on with all of this. It's a big old cluster, you know. Okay, so let's get down to what happened that day. Um, Yeah, Astro, that's what I'm thinking too. And especially after we go through this lawsuit that I'm going to tell you guys about, it kind of seems like something was untoward in this whole county. Okay, let's look at this. Um, so let's look at this first. The Mountain Eagle is a really good resource in this area. It's the local newspaper. And this is what it says about Sheriff Stines' affect around that time. It says Sheriff Stines had not been himself in the days leading up to his murder of Letcher District Judge Kevin Collins. And yes, guys, I don't even think we have to say allegedly. I'm really not sure because this incident was captured on camera in chambers. And, he basically admitted to it when he walked out, so I don't think we even have to say allegedly. But anyways, it says as hateful and unfounded rumors continue making their way through social media sites and elsewhere, a disturbing picture of what really transpired in the Letcher County Courthouse last week has begun to emerge. Friends and coworkers say Letcher County Sheriff Mickey Stines had been acting erratically since around Labor Day. When is Labor Day, you guys? That's the beginning of September, right? Hey, Van, Nature Rocks, it's good to see you. How are you? Yeah, he was quieter than usual and had stopped regular communications with the community and the press. In mid-August, he deleted his office Facebook page, which it is up now, you guys, so I'm not sure when he put it back, but it says, and told the Mountain Eagle that people had been criticizing him and he was afraid someone might use the page in a court case. So wonder if he was talking about that lawsuit that I'm going to tell you guys about. if he means that. Less than 48 hours before Sheriff Stines shot and killed Letcher District Judge Kevin Mullins on September 19th, Stines told a Mountain Eagle reporter that he had lost 40 pounds in 2 weeks, you guys. 40 pounds. Friends of the sheriff say he didn't see himself in the days leading up to the shooting. This story and more about the tragic events of last week appear in September 25th edition of the Mountain Eagle. I would like to get that paper. This seems like a really good resource from what I can tell so far. They really know what's going on. Let me see here. I accidentally took us out. Hopefully I got us back here. Okay. And let me see here. This is another post from them. And this was on September 20th, so the very next day. It says, Sheriff, Judge allegedly looked at each other's cell phones before the shooting, according to multiple sources, video. So that is another thing. When there is a lawsuit that the sheriff had given a deposition for on Monday, and this occurred on Thursday, right? And it's about what happened in the judge's chambers, and I'll tell you guys more about it. But back then, there was no cameras inside the judge's chambers, but since then, they had added cameras. So there was definitely a camera in there, but some sources say that they don't think that there was audio, but there was video. But it says, according to multiple sources, video from inside Letcher District Judge Kevin Mullins' office shows he exchanged cell phones with Letcher County Sheriff Mickey Stines before Stines shot him. Stines had been in the office after asking to speak to Mullins privately. The two sat and talked before Stines stood up and locked the door, and each took out his cell phone and handed it to the other. So Stines didn't just want to see Mullins' cell phone. They exchanged cell phones for some reason. According to those sources, Stines drew his weapon, walked around Mullins' desk, and shot him repeatedly as Mullins fell to the floor. Stines allegedly fired 8 shots. That's what I'm saying, you guys. He didn't just kill him. It was like overkill, 8 times. But Mullins was 54 and had been district judge since 2009. Stines was his bailiff before running for sheriff. And right here it says the two had eaten lunch together with employees of the court system earlier that day. And it says the shooting occurred shortly before 3 p.m. So at noon, they were eating lunch with other employees and everything seemed cool. And then by 2:55, a 911 call is coming in with a widespread police officer telling the dispatcher that shots had been fired in the courthouse, that he had self-dispatched and had one person under arrest, which was the sheriff. The first police officers were dispatched by 911 3 minutes after the call. And it says Stines, who is 43, was planning to retire at the end of the term, left the office and surrendered to police. He has been charged with first-degree murder and being held in the Leslie County Jail. And then it tells that the Leslie County Jail was going to be closed. Grief counselors were made available to courthouse workers, attorneys, and others involved. Some people were asking why. Oh, I didn't even share that with you guys. I forgot to share this tab. Man. Oh, geez. Oh, geez. Some people were asking, well, why wasn't there metal detectors at the courthouse? And that is kind of weird that they didn't have metal detectors. All courthouses have metal detectors, but you guys, in this case, who would have looked at the sheriff weird for? They would have let him in with his duty weapon anyway, The Astro from space says he looked at that phone, stood up, and ate pew-pew inside the judge, his mentor. What was on that phone? Exactly. The phone holds the key. I saw that was said, Astro, but I couldn't find where it was said. I saw other people saying it was said, but I couldn't find the source of that. Okay, yeah, those cell phones hold the key, absolutely. Now I want to show you guys somebody who has seen the video of what happened that day. And this is the court clerk, Mike Watts. So I figured we could watch that. Let me see here.
Court clerk, and he has known both Judge Mullins and Sheriff Stines for years and considered both men a friend. This is such an incredibly tragic story and so confusing. Mike, thank you for joining me tonight, and I am so sorry for your loss and what your community is going through right now. Can you walk us through the day and the hours leading up to this shooting about what these two men did?
I have no information at all about what occurred or why it occurred. I know our county is devastated. We've lost 2 county officials, personal friends of mine for years. I've worked with both men closely throughout their careers.
Was there any animosity? Was there any acrimony? Was there anything that you knew about that did not seem right about the relationship between these two men?
None at all. None that I knew of. I didn't know of anything that.
So, Mike, I just detailed that there had been this deposition that the sheriff had sat for about this terrible crime that one of the sheriff's deputies had pleaded guilty to, and that potentially the judge had some information. Does any of this comport with your knowledge of maybe some consternation between the sheriff and the judge because this lawsuit was ongoing?
Not that I know of. No. I know both.
So the sheriff didn't. Go ahead.
I know both men personally. That they didn't. Either one told me anything that they had a problem with the other, that anything was going on. Both of them has been good for our county and community. The whole county is just devastated over it. Both men have been active in the community.
Is the whole county, including you, completely confounded by how or why this happened?
Of course, yes.
Nobody has a clue.
No one has a clue that I know of. We're just we're all like everyone else. We're just would like to.
The local paper. I'm sorry, we've got some crosstalk because of a delay, but I need to ask you. The local paper said that there's video in the judge's office, perhaps even in chambers, because the local paper says the video shows what happened. And I just laid out that both men looked at their phones right before the shooting, and that the sheriff came around Judge Mullins' desk and opened fire 8 times. Is that accurate? Do you know of the video?
Some people are saying, what if the judge went to reach for something and it was self-defense? And I guess that could be a possibility, but I don't know. But still, 8 times, I don't know. And some people are saying that it could be the heat of passion defense. He has made his first court appearance, and it's really interesting to watch too. We'll watch that too, but he has pleaded not guilty.
Showing this?
I know of the video. I've not seen the video. I'm not sure what it showed.
Have you discussed the video and the contents of the video with anybody else, court employees, witnesses, anyone else who can corroborate that, yes, indeed, that is what happened?
That's my understanding.
So just to be clear, it is your understanding that that is exactly what played out. What the local paper is reporting is shown on a video. You're telling me tonight that that series of events, in your understanding, did play out like that?
Some of it did, I think. I think, from my understanding, they Judge Mullins handed the sheriff his phone. The sheriff looked at both phones. He had 2 phones in one phone in each hand. He reviewed the phones. He laid the judge's phone back down and then stood up.
They had been seated prior to that when this phone exchange happened?
Yes.
And was there an audible argument? Was there yelling? There was some reporting yesterday that they had been arguing. Is that what happened, or was it all quiet?
I don't know. I couldn't answer that. I do not know. This Kentucky State Police is investigating the.
I saw a few other places that there was arguing right before this, that some of the witnesses inside the courthouse did say that there was arguing. I'm not sure how loud or what, but I did hear that.
The crime. We all were looking for answers. I've not only lost a county judge, our district judge, but our county sheriff and two personal friends.
Was the door to chambers open to the staffers
No.
in the anteroom?
No.
Did those staffers who were in the outside room, outside of chambers, did they report hearing anything prior to the shots?
No argument. No.
And what about just conversation? Was there a normal conversation in normal tones prior to the shots?
They couldn't hear. The sheriff walked in and asked whoever was in the chambers that he needed to speak with the judge in private, and the doors were closed.
And they couldn't hear any other conversation after that, even that there was conversation?
No, the next thing they heard is gunshots, I think, and they didn't realize if they were from the outside or if someone had came in or what. They evacuated the building. And then I was informed.
What does the video
I'm not
what
sure.
does the
I've
video
not seen
show
the video.
next after after the sheriff allegedly fired 8 shots, killing Judge Mullins? What does the video show him doing right after that?
Again, I have not seen the video.
What have you been told it shows?
That he picked up the phone again, the judge's phone, and looked at it and laid it back down and walked out.
So after the shots were fired, he did not render assistance. He did not check the judge. He picked up the.
You were right, Astro. I didn't notice that when I watched it the first time, but you were right. After he did that, he picked the phone back up and then laid it back down. That's like cold-hearted for real, huh? Just pick up the phone again, like making sure he saw what he saw and didn't even try. How do you turn off? Okay, this is this is a man who spent his whole life after he graduated high school protecting and saving people. How do you turn that off even after you've done what you've done? Like, it seems like you would still want to try to save them. I don't know. Hey, Jim, it's good to see you. How are you? Malice, extreme malice. That's what I couldn't think of earlier, Jim. 8. Yeah, that's what I was saying. 8 times. Yeah, Trista, that's what I was thinking too, since it was a government employee, and both of them were. Yeah.
The judge's phone off the desk again, looked at it, and then walked out of the office?
From my understanding, again, I've not seen the video.
What did he say to the people outside the office the moment he came out?
There's no one there, I don't think.
And so where did he walk to after he left chambers?
He exited the courthouse.
He didn't come into
Came back.
contact with anyone in the courthouse until he came outside on the front steps?
He came out a side entrance, turned and walked back in the front entrance.
When he walked back in the front entrance, what happened after that? What was he doing going back into the courthouse?
The first responders were responding. Of course, they probably thought he was there to assist them until he walked back in the courthouse, back into the courtroom, is my understanding, and laid his revolver or his pistol down on one of the tables.
They said that
At the very
I
front.
think they said that he wasn't in his uniform that day, but that it was his issued piece. But I have read so many things, so many places, you guys, and it's hard to remember what I've read as rumor and what as fact. I try to keep that separate in my brain as much as possible. So you guys correct, yeah, that's what I thought. Astro in civil clothes. Yeah. Yeah, that's true too. He is on duty 24/7. Yeah.
Front of the courthouse, he laid his, is that his service revolver you're saying, or his service pistol?
In the courtroom. He walked back in the courtroom. From my understanding, again, I didn't see the video, so I'm not. It was just my understanding that he walked back in the courtroom and took his pistol out and laid it on one of the attorney tables.
And then surrendered to the responders who were in that courtroom?
That's my understanding.
And can you just tell me again, was it his service pistol or was it his personal weapon?
I do not know.
Was he in uniform?
He was not.
Was he on duty?
He was on duty 24 hours, 7 days a week. These are both honorable men. These both are honorable. They were elected by the good citizens of Letcher County. They both served admirably in their positions they held. Sheriff Stines fought the drug epidemic with everything he had in him. He worked 24 hours, 7 days a week. Judge Mullins was a very strong component of, instead of incarcerating.
That's what everybody is saying. Everybody in the town, from what I've seen, well, no, I can't really say that. This town is divided, really. Most people knew both of these men, and were friends with both of them. But a lot of people are supporting the sheriff. A lot of people are, and they, well, I'll just tell you, you guys remember I said that there was so before Judge Mullins took over, it was, the judge name was Judge Wood. Well, his wife said that she'd been friends with Stines and his family for years, and you couldn't find a better person on the face of the earth than Mickey Stines. She knows his character. She said if she saw Stines 10 times in a day, there was always a hug. She said the sheriff would always say, "Do you need anything? If you need anything, call me." She just can't believe he went in there and shot him for no reason. So this was a judge's wife. So that kind of tells a lot, you know?
Individuals, after years being on the bench, he realized that it wasn't working, and he was working along with Sheriff Stines to get people in treatment and giving them a second chance.
So, Mike, I'm glad you said that, because one of my big questions has been, because the judge had a different viewpoint on incarcerating people with drug offenses and favored instead rehabilitation, was that a point of contention between the sheriff and the judge, or did they work together in concert on that theory?
They worked together, hand in hand. Sheriff Stines would take them to treatment. He would offer people to come into his office and voluntarily go and not be arrested to treatment.
Do you suspect then that any consternation that may have led to this shooting then is likely from the other issue, and that was what the federal lawsuit was about, and the criminal case with the other bailiff and sheriff's deputy? Is that what you suspect this is then about?
I have no idea. I don't want to speculate. There's two families
Okay.
that's lost loved ones. Our county is devastated by this loss. We're a strong mountain community. We've been through a lot. We had a July 2022 flood that devastated the county. Both men delivered supplies to flood victims. Um, I have no idea what happened.
Mike
or why
Watts,
it
I reiterate my condolences to you having lost your friend, and then I am so sorry that you're going through this additional trauma.
So that's what the video tells. Let me see here. Let me get back there. So everybody, we've heard about this lawsuit. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about it now. Let me see here. There is, first I'll read you guys. Let me see here. I don't know why it's not sharing that. Let me see. I'll have to come back here. Don't mess up on me today, bro. Here we go. I got us now. Don't worry, guys. Okay, so this was in 2022. It says a Kentucky woman says in a federal lawsuit that when she couldn't afford to pay for home incarceration, and Letcher County deputy sheriff told her she would receive favorable treatment for sexual favors. In this suit filed Monday in U.S. District Court, Sabrina Atkins says Deputy Ben Fields met her in a district judge's chambers late at night. So this Deputy Ben Fields, he was Judge Mullins' bailiff. After Mickey Stines, after he won sheriff and he started being the sheriff, this Ben Fields took his place as Judge Mullins' bailiff. So it says in district judge's chambers. Well, we know that was Judge Kevin Mullins' chambers. 6 times last year and forced her to engage in unwanted kissing, oral sex, and intercourse. Plaintiff was coerced and compelled to comply with defendant Fields' advances given his position and power because she could not afford to pay for the ankle monitor and did not want to return to Letcher County Jail, the suit says. And after this, another lady also joined the suit. But since, and very unfortunately, that lady passed away from an overdose, I believe is what I read. But her what do you call it? Her estate is still in the lawsuit, it says. And then they said they tried to get a hold of them. And the Letcher County Sheriff, Mickey Stines, he was also named as a defendant for allegedly failing to properly train Fields in an interview. Fields is a veteran deputy and has not been the subject of any previous complaints. And let's see here. The suit says the abuse occurred in the chamber of District Judge Kevin Mullins, but doesn't say he was aware of it or allege he was involved in any wrongdoing. Mullins did not immediately respond to a request for comment. And then this tells some of Stines, who said he learned of the lawsuit from a reporter, noted that Atkins was charged January 26 with escape. She was charged last year with possession of a controlled substance. So I don't know why he felt that had anything to do with this. And then it tells her lawyers, Field was assigned as her own home incarceration officer and visited her to bring her cigarettes and console her. She told him she didn't have any money to pay for her ankle bracelet and was terrified to return to jail. The suit said Field made flirtatious comments about her looks and told her he was confident they would work something out. This is I'm going to show you guys the actual lawsuit. So this tells about what I'm going to tell you guys. Let's just move on to that. I have to come back and get you guys sometimes, but that's okay. Let's see here. Let me see here. Well, let's read this. What happened to him? Let's see. Let's go ahead and go to this. So this is the actual suit that we're going to look at now. This just tells the introduction and jurisdiction and venue. So this is the factual allegations. So Sabrina, earlier we were talking about Sabrina, and it says she was arrested in Letcher County in April 2021. From April 2021 through June 21, she was incarcerated at the Letcher County Jail. In early June 2021, she was released and placed on home incarceration. Deputy Fields was assigned to Sabrina's home incarceration. After she was released, she had a difficult time finding housing accommodations in Letcher County. So, yeah, usually I think once you get out of jail in that county, you have to stay in that county as long as you're on, as long as she would be on this home incarceration. It says Deputy Fields was aware of her housing issues as well as Sabrina's domestic issues. He visited Sabrina in the evening the night she was released from the Letcher County Jail to bring her cigarettes and to console her. At this time, Sabrina notified Defendant Fields that she did not have the money to pay for her ankle bracelet, but she was terrified to return to the Letcher County Jail. Defendant Fields made flirtatious comments about Sabrina's looks and body and told her that he was confident that they could quote-unquote work something out. Sabrina understood these communications to mean that she would receive favorable treatment from Fields if she provided him with sexual favors. And us girls, we know, we would know what that meant too. So there would be no misconstruing that. It said they communicated on a regular basis by text messages. In late June 2021, Fields asked Sabrina to meet her at the Letcher County Courthouse in the evening after dark. Defendant Fields took Sabrina into District Judge Mullins' chambers, telling Sabrina that he wanted to meet her there because there were no cameras. So, because of this, that's why there were cameras in there last Thursday and that everyone can see exactly what happened. So, that's kind of. At this time, Fields took off Sabrina's ankle monitor and told her that she would not have to pay the fee any longer but could remain out on home incarceration. So, he just totally took it off of her and said that she wouldn't have to pay anymore, but she could remain out. So between late June and December, Defendant Fields met Sabrina at the Letcher County Courthouse in the evening or early morning hours 6 times. It escalated from flirtatious comments to forcible kissing to oral sex to intercourse with Sabrina, all of which occurred at the Letcher County Courthouse after hours in Judge Mullins' chambers. Okay, before I got hurt, I was a secretary and I had my own little office, right? Hey, Chris, good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. And I would know if somebody moved one of my pencils, wouldn't you guys? Or if somebody stole one of my snacks, in my office. So if, it seems like if all that was going on in the judge's chambers that he had to notice something, Sabrina was coerced and compelled to comply with Defendant Fields' advances, given Defendant Field's position of power and because she could not afford to pay for the ankle monitor and did not want to return to the Letcher County Jail. Sabrina did not consent to the sexual abuse. These meetings would occur typically the night before Sabrina had a court appearance, and Fields would put Sabrina's ankle monitor back on and otherwise fix it so that she would appear compliant with her home incarceration the following day. Upon information and belief, in December 2021, certain persons at the Letcher County Courthouse were notified that Defendant Fields was having inappropriate communications and/or relations with Sabrina and were provided text messages evidencing the inappropriate communication and relations. Upon information and belief, Fields became aware of the information contained in the preceding paragraph. So, if I'm reading this correctly, somebody ratted him out about the stuff going on that somebody knew about. Somebody ratted him out about all this, and somehow he figured out about the rat. Somebody told him that somebody had ratted, basically. So it says, in late December 2021, Defendant Fields stopped communicating with Sabrina by text messages or otherwise. In early 2022, Fields filed a complaint against Sabrina, claiming that she was not complying with the terms of her home incarceration. It's believed this complaint was filed maliciously by Fields in an effort to punish Sabrina in an attempt to save his own job and reputation. Sabrina was arrested on January 26, 2022 in Pike County. She was terrified that she would be transferred to the Letcher County Jail, where upon information and belief, Fields' wife is employed as an officer and where Defendant Fields was previously employed. Wonder if his wife still works there, you guys. Wonder if they could fire her, or if it would be a wrongful termination for what he did. I'm not sure. Trista says, in my opinion, this has a lot to do with what has currently happened. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a coincidence, especially since Sheriff Stines gave his deposition the Monday before that. And I was looking at all the court filings, and it seemed like they had to give him 2 notices to get him to come in and do his deposition. And I heard that he wasn't very happy about it either. He was in that office for 8 hours giving his deposition. They were in there for 8 hours altogether, but it was only 4 hours that he was doing his deposition. So, it says Sabrina had and continues to have serious concerns for her safety and welfare if she were transferred to the Letcher County Jail. She has suffered and continues to suffer emotional distress, pain and suffering, and mental anguish. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the other lady in this suit, and it seems like there's a lot more with this one. So Jennifer was arrested in Letcher County in 2019 and incarcerated at Letcher County Jail. The Letcher County Jail is you guys, that's another thing. JLR, he went to this county and he did some lives, and I got to see the Letcher County Jail, and it is on the bottom of the courthouse. So basically, it wouldn't cause a lot of concern. It wouldn't cause a lot of, it wouldn't bring a lot of attention if an inmate just went up a few floors. They're in the same building. In August 2022, Jennifer was put on home incarceration and had to be supervised by Defendant Fields. When Jennifer was first notified that she would be let out on home incarceration, Fields took Jennifer to a small room in the Letcher County Jail to put her ankle monitor on. At this time, Fields told Jennifer that if she could not afford to pay the home incarceration fees, they would work something out, quote unquote. When Jennifer asked Fields for clarification, he told her that if Jennifer would do him a, quote, favor, he would do her a, quote unquote, favor. Jennifer understood Fields to be asking for sex in exchange for waiver of home incarceration fees. Jennifer told him no and that she was not interested. Good for her. good for her. Fields had previously gone to Jennifer's home to install a box, which at that time was necessary for home incarceration, and further verified that the home was satisfactory and otherwise complied with home incarceration requirements. Hey, Jennifer, it's good to see you. Well, I hope you have a good day. Thank you. 3 days later, Fields showed up at Jennifer's home and arrested her, purportedly because her home was not properly maintained for home incarceration. But she thinks it was because she refused to comply with his request for sex. Jennifer was finally released from custody sometime later that same year. It says on August 17th, she was arrested again in Letcher County, and soon thereafter she bonded out of jail on the condition that she comply with home incarceration. So she's on this home incarceration again and having to see Fields again. So he came to the Letcher County jail to put on her ankle monitor. Within a few days, Fields showed up at Jennifer's home with the sheriff, you guys, other law enforcement officers, in an ambulance, and claimed that they were responding to a report that Jennifer had overdosed. This was false, and Jennifer was in the process of unloading groceries from the car when these individuals arrived. I don't know if that would be commonplace if they got a 911 call and then the sheriff and a sheriff's deputy and an ambulance all arrived. That does seem kind of sus, but it says after all the other law enforcement and emergency service persons left and Fields threatened to take Jennifer in for a drug screen in further attempts to intimidate and harass her. The next day, Fields returned to Jennifer's house and parked his Letcher County Sheriff's Department vehicle behind her house where it was hidden from passers-by. So, let me see here. So this is a lot. So even after the fake call, he still came to her house the next day and hid. Defendant Fields knocked on Jennifer's door and instructed her that if she did not do as he said, he would put her back in jail. Fields told Jennifer that if she made him happy, he would make her happy. He further told her that if he was not happy, neither one of them would be happy. Jennifer understood him to mean that if she did not do as instructed, he would make sure she ended up back in jail, as he had done the prior year. Fields then commanded Jennifer to come outside and get into the front seat of his vehicle, which she did. Fields then got into the front seat of the vehicle also and told Jennifer that he wanted oral sex. Jennifer involuntarily complied with Fields' instruction. Thereafter, Fields offered to pay Jennifer's home incarceration fee. Jennifer's fiancé assisted her in these payments, and she did not want him to find out about her interactions with Defendant Fields, so she said no. Defendant Fields then notified Jennifer that he would be back in a couple of days and left. Jennifer told a friend and roommate about what occurred, but did not tell her fiancé about Fields at that time. Well, that's good that she told her friend and roommate at that time, because they could be witnesses and be like, yeah, she told us about it right when it happened. Approximately 3 days later, Fields returned to her home and in a similar fashion instructed her to have sexual intercourse with him in the back seat of the Letcher County Sheriff's Department vehicle he was driving. They should also have cameras in the back of those vehicles, don't you guys think? Yeah, it says she had a fiance, Astro. Yeah. Trista says, can we say corruption? Maybe the judge knew what was going on and was keeping it secret at first, but then he had to tell the truth in the deposition, and the sheriff didn't like that. That is a very good possibility. Very good possibility. It says she involuntarily complied, told Jennifer not to tell anyone about what occurred. There was additional times in the weeks and months that followed when Fields similarly came to Jennifer's home and instructed her to have sexual intercourse with him in the back seat of his vehicle. Jennifer involuntarily complied with instruction on these occasions also. It says she told her roommate and friend about these additional instances on or about the dates they occurred. Well, that's good. She told them then, too. Each time Fields came to her house for sex, he was wearing his Letcher County Sheriff's Department uniform, driving his Letcher County Sheriff's Department vehicle. Each time he came to her house for sex, he reminded her that she needed to keep him happy or he could have her arrested and put in jail and he would make her life miserable. Jennifer was coerced and compelled to comply with Defendant Fields' instructions given Defendant Fields' position of power. Jennifer did not consent to this sexual abuse. On or about October 2021, Fields came to Jennifer's home and demanded sex. Jennifer told Fields that she would not have sex with him, telling him that her fiancé was on his way home. On this occasion, she asked Fields if she could go visit her newborn granddaughter in London, Kentucky. Defendant Fields agreed and removed her ankle monitor to make this trip. But upon information and belief, Fields then reported that Jennifer had violated a condition of her bond and was arrested. At this time, her cell phone was confiscated, and she remained in the Letcher County Jail from late October 2021 through December 2021. Within the first couple of days after her arrest, in the presence of Deputy Sheriff Whitaker, Fields told Jennifer to remember what I told you and keep your mouth shut. Well, I wonder if this deputy was also deposed. And wonder if they remember that. Probably not. Jennifer says, I love when you read to us, Mo. I'll send you some ghost stories. Oh, if you can, I hope it's not boring for you guys. This is the most reading that I've done, but I couldn't just summarize this. I felt like we needed to read this to really get the whole scope of it, really. Yeah, nature rocks. I agree. Somebody had to be seeing that and wondering why a cop car was there like that. On approximately 3 occasions, Fields and his wife, Angie Fields, who worked at the Letcher County Jail, removed Jennifer from her cell in an attempt to gain information regarding other inmates. Upon information and belief, the actions described in the 2 paragraphs were done to harass and intimidate Jennifer. So they're saying that Fields' wife even took part in harassing and intimidating Jennifer. Let's see. In December 2021, Jennifer was released from the Letcher County Jail on the condition that she participate in drug court. When Jennifer was leaving the Letcher County Jail, all of her belongings were returned to her except her cell phone, you guys. Her cell phone just mysteriously disappeared. Well, what about? What a coincidence, don't you guys think? Thanks, guys. You guys are the sweetest. Thank you. Thank you so much. I try to do my best, you guys. It matters a lot to me to get the facts straight and to tell you guys about the victims and, what I know. So I appreciate it so much. So yeah, her cell phone disappeared, but I bet she got everything else back. Upon information and belief, Fields or persons working on his behalf took her cell phone because there was incriminating communications between Jennifer and Fields on her phone. Oh, you guys, Fields' sister works for the Letcher County Drug Court program. So yeah, people would be really scared not to do what he asked. If his wife works at the jail and then his sister works for the drug court program. Oh, the sister, Astro. It says his sister's name's Holly. After being released and in the presence of Jennifer's fiancé, Defendant Fields notified Jennifer that his sister Holly had just notified him that Jennifer would soon be arrested due to a warrant from another county. During the same conversation, Fields told Jennifer that she needed to run to avoid arrest, and she did. Why in the world? You know that he wanted to put her back in jail, so he would not have told her that, in my opinion. Well, he probably did tell her that, but for why? For why? On December 17th, 2021, a warrant was issued for Jennifer's arrest for a purported. Oh, you guys. Oh. So he told her to run because there was a warrant in another county for her. But when she did run, they issued a warrant for her not complying with drug court. The drug court that his sister Holly is who her sister Holly works for. So he wanted to issue a warrant for that. On or about February 4th, 2022, Jennifer was arrested, and since this time has been held in Perry County, Jennifer is terrified to return to the Letcher County Jail. Jennifer has suffered and continues to suffer. Okay, let me see here. Upon information and belief in December 2021, Fields, as well as numerous other persons who work at the Letcher County Jail, Courthouse, and Sheriff's Department, were aware that Sabrina had made allegations against Fields as described above. A complaint was made by a friend of Sabrina Atkins to persons working in the Letcher County drug court program about sexual harassment and abuse by Fields against Sabrina. So this tells when everybody was finding out about, upon information and belief, these allegations were not appropriately investigated by Sheriff Stines. So this mentions the sheriff. In early December 2021, Jennifer's fiance called the Letcher County Sheriff's Department to complain about defendant Fields. So at some time, she told her fiance, and he's calling to find out what's going on. During this call, Jennifer's fiance spoke to a female Letcher County Sheriff's deputy and notified her that Fields had been sexually harassing Jennifer. And that whoever this female sheriff's deputy was hung up on Jennifer's fiance. So then he shows up to the Letcher County Sheriff's Department to make a complaint in person. And he spoke to Deputy Sheriff Whitaker, who told him it would be investigated, and he needed to keep quiet about this while it was investigated. But after leaving the sheriff's department, making this complaint in person, he was pulled over by a vehicle by Letcher County Deputy Sheriff Norris, who was accompanied by a female deputy. Deputy Norris asked Jennifer's fiance what the F he thought he was doing and told him that he needed to keep his effing nose out of Sheriff's Department's business. Later this same day, he was pulled over again by a man who refused to identify himself by name, who was driving a red Silverado pickup truck, wore a badge, and was carrying a gun. This individual identified himself as being from the sheriff's department and told her fiance that he stuck his nose where it don't belong and called him a liar. This individual also told her fiance that Fields was involved with people who are high up on the ladder who he should not mess with. We'll wonder who that is, who they're talking about. Hey, Neat Noodle, good to see you. Thank you for coming by. So this is twice that he's pulled over in the same day after making his complaint. So that doesn't seem like a coincidence to me. This individual further threatened her fiance and his family and told him to forget about his complaint against defendant Fields. During this time, this individual was detaining and threatening Jennifer's fiance. He was speaking to unknown persons on his cell phone and on a radio in his truck. Well, he was detaining him, and that's like awful, like against civil rights, isn't it? I forgot exactly what they call that, but they're not supposed to do that, you guys. I know, Astro. That's what I'm saying. Upon information and belief, this individual was speaking to other persons employed by the Letcher County Sheriff's Office. A couple hours later, Jennifer's fiance was stopped for a third time, you guys, by another Letcher County Sheriff's deputy official vehicle. This deputy notified Jennifer's fiance that there had been a lot of chatter about Fields and his complaint that day. This deputy told her fiance that they didn't need any trouble like this by the Letcher County Sheriff's Department because they were all barely getting paid as it was. This was true, you guys, that the sheriff's office did have a lot of trouble with payment. In one article I read, the sheriff was actually talking about trying to get alcohol sales legal so that they could do more at the sheriff's department. And I think I did also read that after 4:30 p.m. that they were having trouble paying officers to be able to work and patrol and keep the county safe after 4:30 p.m. This deputy was also speaking to somebody on his cell phone and radio during the exchange. Upon information and belief, Jennifer's fiance was aimed at intimidating, harassing, and silencing Jennifer. Yep. So they were picking on him to try to silence Jennifer. Upon further information, failed to reasonably investigate so that's about all of it, you guys. But let's go look at what they did to Deputy Fields after this. Let me see here. I really wanted to read that to you guys, though, because I couldn't summarize it well enough, and I think we needed to read it all the way through. So criminal charges were filed against Fields after this. The civil suit is still going on for the monetary, I think, but the criminal stuff is. So let's see what. A former Letcher County deputy sheriff who pleaded guilty to raping a female prisoner who was on home incarceration will spend 6 months in the Letcher County Jail, where he formerly worked as a deputy jailer. Ben Fields, who was a security officer for the sheriff's office, a court security officer for the sheriff's office, and worked a side job for monitoring company Eastern Kentucky Correctional Services, was sentenced last week to 7 years total. So this is in January just of this year, you guys. So that everything was filed in 2022, and I guess he was out for 2 whole years doing who knows what, intimidating who knows who. He was fired shortly after that suit was filed, but still, he was loose. He wasn't in jail. 7 years total, with 6.5 of that to be spent on probation. He was indicted on 7 felony counts and 1 misdemeanor. The criminal charges followed a lawsuit filed by 2 women in March of 2022, both former inmates in the Letcher County Jail, where Fields worked as a deputy jailer before being hired by the sheriff's office. They're just summarizing it up, what I told you guys. But yeah, 6 months and 6.5 years on probation. Yeah. Let me see here. No, we got a dog and a cat, Astro. See? We're still trying to think up names for him, though. Neat Noodle says, I can't believe they put him in the jail he worked at. That is so unethical. Very good point. Very good point, Neat Noodle. Wonder what kind of special treatment he got. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you guys like that, Foxy. We decided to change it from that other dog that we have. Bless him. I love those. Okay, now you guys, let's watch the video of Sabrina's lawyer, what he has to say about all of this. Let me see here. let me see here.
Lawsuit because he was the boss, and also there is no allegations that the judge had any idea what was going on after hours in his chambers.
I moved it up to this, you guys, because before this was basically what I already told you guys, but coming up in just a second, her lawyer is going to speak. So that's why I started it right here.
All right, Matt Johnson in Kentucky tonight. Big day tomorrow. I know we're going to be speaking tomorrow night as well. Thanks so much, Matt. I want to bring in a special guest joining us by phone tonight, the attorney who represents the woman suing Sheriff Mickey Stines. Ned Pillersdorf is with us. Ned, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Appreciate you having me.
Let me start here. What are the allegations against Sheriff Mickey Stines in this lawsuit?
The allegations is that Sheriff Stines had a deputy who was also a bailiff who preyed on at least 3 different women in the context of the courthouse. The deputy actually pled guilty to sex crime, and some of the sex crimes were committed in the judge's chambers. Basically, what the bailiff deputy did is he leveraged his position as someone who controlled the ankle monitor program and basically told these women to have them go to jail unless they performed certain sexual acts with them. And this went on for several years. We named Sheriff Stines as a deputy in that our theory of the case is that he knew, or certainly should have known, of the predicate conduct of his bailiff deputy who, as I indicated, pled guilty to at least 3 women. Also, we filed what's called a civil rights case. It's actually on behalf of one woman, Sabrina Atkins, who said the sex happened in the judge's chambers, and another woman who has since died.
And
Yes, that was Jennifer. She was the second lady that I told you guys about. She's the one that's passed away, I believe.
let me ask you this. In this lawsuit, were there any developments this week in the lawsuit or very recently in time connected to the sheriff?
What happened is Monday, Sheriff Stines was in my law office, and we took his deposition as to what he knew and when he knew it. 3 days later, we had the astonishing news that the sheriff killed the local judge. Yesterday, the civil lawsuit was put on hold, so basically we could try to figure out if any of these 2 events are connected.
So you're investigating that. How would you describe the sheriff's demeanor that day?
Well, in a sense, it was your typical civil lawsuit. We name a bill. It was tense, wasn't particularly friendly. And the allegations against the sheriff and his department are sweeping. We're basically saying they turned that courthouse into a brothel. What you need to understand is I'm a criminal defense lawyer, and women here in Appalachia, if they're in an ankle monitor situation or a drug court, are really vulnerable to sexual exploitation. They know the person controlling them can make a simple phone call to the judge and they're in jail. So what happened in this particular case is Ben Fields, the deputy who pled guilty, he leveraged that situation to have sex acts. And after we filed the civil lawsuit, and after we showed the Attorney General's office all the sexual text messages between Deputy Fields and with Deputy Fields and my client, they indicted Deputy Fields. And this past January, he pled guilty in his criminal case. So the civil rights case is going on now. And as I've indicated, we took Stines' deposition this past Monday here in my law office in Prestonsburg.
Was that a video deposition?
It was just a regular deposition.
So it's not. I'm wondering if
and-
it's recorded on video. Sometimes depositions where I practice in New Jersey, they would record them on video.
No, this was just transcribed, but I did get a phone call the day after the astonishing shooting that the state police wanted a copy of the deposition. The deposition went on for 4 or 5 hours, and Stines was here in my office for about 8 hours.
And was there any mention of the judge in this deposition?
Peripherally, I'm really uncomfortable talking too much about what was said at the deposition. You know, there's ethical rules about lawyers talking about evidence that might be coming out. In this case, in 2 trials, the civil rights trial and, of course, Mr. Stines' trial. But, you know, clearly as I indicate, this was a sweeping lawsuit we filed. We're basically saying that the sheriff and probably others knew about what Deputy Fields was doing to at least 3 different women, and it went on for a while. So the theme of the deposition...
He said the sheriff and others knew. Did he say possibly knew, or did he say knew?
The others knew about... Clearly, as I indicate, this was a sweeping lawsuit we filed. We're basically saying that the sheriff and probably others knew about what...
He said the sheriff and probably others. He didn't say allegedly knew or anything like that. You guys, I don't know. I've been thinking about this case since it happened, and I feel sorry for the judge. I feel sorry for both of these men's families, and I feel sorry for the whole community. But it does seem like stuff was going on behind the scenes. So it doesn't justify anybody being murdered, of course not. But I don't know. I just feel like something is bad wrong behind the scenes here. I don't know. And I don't want to seem like a hypocrite because the rumors and stuff are awful. So I don't know, you guys. I figured that I would show you guys the facts, and you guys could make your own opinion.
What Deputy Fields was doing to at least 3 different women, and it went on for a while. So the theme of the deposition, the fairest way to describe it is, what did Sheriff Stines know, and when did he know it? And we're talking about a small town courthouse. It's a 1-judge courthouse with a local sheriff in a very small town of Whitesboro, Kentucky.
And just, I want to make this super clear that one of the assaults is taking place in the judge's chambers, but the judge was not named in the lawsuit, and the judge was never deposed.
Correct. The judge named the lawsuit. But, you know, one wonders of the timing after this deposition Monday, which it's hard to describe, but after I filed the lawsuit, Ms. Fear, when I was in Letcher Courthouse, changed. They were pretty bold allegations we made. And, you know, frankly, I was uncomfortable being in that courthouse. In fact, when I asked Judge Mullins to recuse from the criminal case going on against one of these, the lady who was victimized, he certainly hesitated in getting out of the case. And I thought he should have gotten out of the case automatically.
Okay, so he was saying that one of the ladies that it was mentioned in this lawsuit, after this lawsuit was filed, one of them still had a criminal case going on, and Judge Mullins presided over it. Is it presided or resided? Well, one of those, you guys. He was the judge over it. And this lawyer is saying that the judge should have recused himself from that. And he's saying, in his opinion, the judge really didn't want to at first. So that's interesting, too.
And as a result of that atmosphere, I declined to basically practice law in front of Judge Mullins again. He was very reluctant to get out of the lawsuit, and I thought it was automatic. in that the allegations my client had filed in federal court basically alleged the judge was likely a witness. I mean, the sex occurred at least twice, once in his chambers and once in the bathroom of his chambers.
Wow. So
of the lawsuit, and I thought it was automatic, and that the allegations my client had filed in federal court basically alleged the judge was likely a witness. I mean, the sex occurred at least twice, once in his chambers. And
Whoa. I missed that the first time too. He said that the judge was a Brat, you caught that too. You caught that too. That's what I'm saying. Brat says the judge was a witness yet wasn't named or deposed. What? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man.
once in the bathroom of his chambers.
wow. So you, from your perspective, want to investigate and have time to see if there's any connection here. And it looks like the criminal investigation is looking towards you guys as well to see if there's any connection. So what are your thoughts about when it will become clear what the motivating factor of the shooting was, based on your experience?
There was an interesting court order entered, I think yesterday, that basically all of the parties, including my clients and the sheriff, and we did name Officer Fields, the judge basically said this case is held in abeyance so the parties can figure out if there's any connection between these two events.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, when the shooting occurred, my first thought was, did this have anything to do with the allegations? There's been some public media reporting that apparently Sheriff Stines made some sort of cryptic comment that this may have had something to do with his wife or daughter. I don't know. But one wonders, 3 days after we took this deposition, which the allegations are, from our perspective, serious. And, in fairness to the defendants, they deny the allegations. 3 days later, you have this astonishing event. Have we ever had a sheriff before kill a judge in the courthouse? I mean, this sounds like a John Grisham thing.
It does. I'm trying to rack my brain to see. I've had sheriffs go after other sheriffs years ago in Georgia, but it was more of a political thing. This would be much, much different. Let me ask you, Ned, because you're a criminal defense attorney as well in Kentucky. We're all getting ready for this first appearance that's happening tomorrow. What should we expect to hear? What should we expect to learn at this first appearance?
What'll happen is
I'll show you guys the first appearance before we leave, and then we'll end it. But we didn't learn a whole lot.
Sheriff Stines will likely ask for what's called a preliminary hearing. And because he's in custody, that'll have to happen within 10 days unless he waives the time. The case has been transferred out of the county to a place called Carter County, which is actually about an hour and a half away. And they've already appointed the local Carter County judge. So it's far away. The local clerk's office obviously recused themselves. The prosecutor recused. And there is no judge in Letcher County today. So Sheriff Stines, has a right to what's called a preliminary hearing. Those are generally held within 10 days. Or what could happen is they could immediately go to the Letcher grand jury, which, given the nature of the case, might be problematic, and seek an indictment, which would prevent the preliminary hearing. But in the real world of practicing criminal law, preliminary hearings, that's where you learn a lot about the case. And there certainly is a lot of interest. And certainly if I was representing Sheriff Stines, which I obviously can't do to the conflict, I would want a preliminary hearing to hear what the evidence is against him. And there's certainly a whole bunch of people in Appalachia who are
I hope that we do get to find out more at that preliminary hearing. And you guys know how when they file a probable cause affidavit or whatever, they said that this one only has 3 sentences, so not a whole lot, not a whole lot there. Oh yeah, very good point, Trista. I was wondering about that too. Yeah. Aaron, he said if I was representing the sheriff, which I couldn't, he is a criminal defense attorney, he said, but he couldn't because of the lawsuit. So I don't know if he's saying he would if not for that. I'm not sure. Okay, now let's watch the his first court appearance, and then I will let you guys go. Let me find it here.
All right, I'm going to call the case of Commonwealth versus Sean Stines, 24F 147, Letcher District Court. Is the Commonwealth present?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Judge Ramsey Dallum on behalf of the Commonwealth.
And Jackie Steele also on behalf of the Commonwealth.
All right, thank you. And I see the defendant. Is that the defendant at the Leslie County Detention Center?
Yes, Your Honor.
And who's standing next to him?
I'm Josh Miller, public defender of the Capital Trials Branch.
Dana Clark, jailer, Leslie County.
All right, thank you. And has the defendant filed a petition for indigency?
Not at this point, Your Honor.
Okay. And what about the Commonwealth? Does Commonwealth want to make any statements before I proceed with arraignment?
No, Your Honor. Other than I don't know why Mr. Miller is present. If he's not filed out an agency paperwork, his office has not been appointed. I don't know that he has any reason to be here as in an official capacity as an attorney.
Right. Mr. Miller, do you believe that he's entitled to a public defender at this time?
I do, Your Honor.
And why is that?
This is a capital eligible case, and I believe that the cost of defending ethical defense of a capital eligible case will exceed his means.
Would you like to respond to that, Mr. Steele?
I would, Your Honor. A couple of things. One, I believe what he's telling me is that he's been out soliciting a client, which is obviously not allowed under our ethical obligations as attorneys. Two, even if he hasn't, if he has and he's been out trying to discern how much his financial capacities are, he's wasting state resources without an appointment. And this court is the party that appoints an attorney, not DPA, whatever division, just because they think he's going to need one.
Would you like to respond to that, Mr. Miller?
Your Honor, in cases like this, it is essential that a defense investigation start immediately. And I haven't solicited anything, but advised Mr. Stines of his rights. And if the court appoints us, we will represent him.
I thought that the judge was kind of being harsh at first, you guys, but then I was thinking like he's gonna be harsh because I mean, no matter what he tries to say, how he tries to remain unbiased, you know that there has to be something in there because this dude straight up did what he did to a judge, you know? Hey, Mama Duck, how are you? It's good to see you. Thank you for coming by. She says, new viewer stumbled in from the live list. Thanks for covering this. It's wild. It really, really is. We're trying to decide what we think about it. I'm confused. I just don't know how I feel. Like I was saying, I feel for the families, of course, because they're innocent no matter what. But I don't know. If you want to look back through it later, we went over the lawsuit. We read quite a bit of it, and all of us were like, whoa, about that.
Is he still the sheriff of Leslie County?
At this point, I believe so.
Oh, guys, I got to tell you something about that too. Okay, today I checked right before I started this live, and he still hadn't resigned. But if he doesn't resign today, the governor is going to start taking action to remove him, and it's like a 6-month project. As it'll take 6 months to get it done, I believe is what they said. So that's kind of crazy too, huh? That he hasn't resigned yet.
Letcher County.
Fletcher County, I'm sorry.
Judge, I can't speak to that, and he currently is still the sheriff of Letcher County.
Yeah, well, I don't think he would qualify as an indigent defendant.
Well, sir, we're happy to, or Mr. Stines is happy to put any paperwork, file anything that would help the court make that determination. Obviously, the court is the one that appoints us.
Has he filed an affidavit for indigency?
Not at this point, Your Honor.
All right, we'll proceed with formal arraignment. Are you Sean Stines?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can't be used against you. Have your silence can't be used to find you guilty. County attorney must prove your guilt, or the Commonwealth must prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to call witnesses on your behalf. You have the right to cross-examine witnesses called against you. You have the right to a speedy public trial by a jury of your peers. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, I'll appoint one to represent you. And you have the right to appeal any decision that I make. You're charged with murder, a capital offense here in Kentucky, a Class A felony, punishable by 20 to 50 years in prison, 25 years to life in prison, 25 years to life without the possibility of parole, and the possibility of the death penalty. Do you have an attorney, Mr. Stines?
I have not hired one.
Have you tried to hire an attorney? Have you spoken to any attorneys about taking your case?
No, sir.
And are you telling me that you don't have the means to, do you not have the means? Do you own a home?
Yes.
Do you own any other real estate?
Got a place in Tennessee, but I still owe for it with the bank.
Yes. Do you know how much equity you have in your own home?
My home and my property is paid for.
And do you have an estimated value of that real property?
I think the PBA's got it on for about $45,000.
And what's your income?
I think that his home has to be worth more than 40,000. And wait till you guys hear his income. This kind of surprised me in a small eastern Kentucky town, to be honest.
It's based on statute. I think this year it was going to be 115,000.
Do you have
115,000. That is a lot, especially when your home is valued at 40,000, and then the poverty level in this area is a lot of people are below the poverty line, you guys.
monthly savings, bank accounts?
I had a check-ins. Sir, it's my understanding that he's in the process of losing his job as a sheriff of Letcher County, obviously, and will not have income going forward. His family is not prepared for this eventuality. And again, I think the cost of defending one of these cases can reach well into this several $100,000.
you're entitled to, since you're charged with a felony, you're entitled to have a preliminary hearing within 10 days from the date of this arraignment. Do you believe you'll be able to obtain counsel to represent you on these charges within those 10 days?
I hope so. It's kind of hard, where I'm at, have contact with people I need to.
The court recognizes that it is going to take a considerable amount of money to retain an attorney to represent you on this capital offense. However, I don't believe you do at this time qualify as for public assistance due to the fact that you aren't indigent. However, based on the circumstances of this case and the fact that we do need to have a preliminary hearing within 10 days, I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you for the limited purpose of assisting you at your preliminary hearing. If and when this case does proceed to circuit court, the circuit court may require you to hire your own counsel. Do you understand that, Mr. Stines?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll enter does he want to enter a plea at this time?
Your Honor, he would enter a plea of not guilty and request a date for preliminary hearing.
All right. We'll set the preliminary hearing next Tuesday, October the 1st at 1 o'clock in West Liberty, Kentucky.
Excuse me, Your Honor, we said October 1st at 1 o'clock.
Yes, October 1st at 1 o'clock in West Liberty, Kentucky at the Morgan County Judicial Center.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else before we adjourn this hearing?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
No.
So next Tuesday, I will be sure to keep us up to date and figuring out what's going on there. What did you guys think about his demeanor here? I guess because he doesn't seem as shocked as I would think, but he has been part of this process so many times, so many years, because he was the bailiff for Judge Mullins for so many years. He's seen it so many times and probably accompanied countless prisoners on his own. So maybe that's why he wasn't as shocked. Next Tuesday. Yeah, I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Mama Duck says to remove an elected official in Kentucky, it takes the governor or an impeachment by the state legislature. It's a process. Yeah, I do have a short video about that, and I think that they said it'll take around 6 months. I do have something else to show you guys too, just to get your opinion on, and let me find it here. Okay, let me come back and get you guys. I'm trying not to show the top of this as well because it has a picture of his daughter, but there is a GoFundMe that started, I think, the day before yesterday. And it has a picture of the sheriff's wife and his 17-year-old daughter at the top. And it says, "My name is Ginger Isaac. I'm Carolyn's sister-in-law. I'm setting this donation page because so many people have asked, and this is the only way I can think of to be helpful. Please consider donating to assist the family of Sheriff Mickey Stines to help with the expenses they will incur during this tragic time. The family is near and dear to my family's hearts. The rumor about their daughter being SA is false. We don't want anyone donating under false pretenses. Mickey and Carolyn have spent their lives taking care of others. I want to help take care of them. If you cannot donate, please share this on social media. The family desires prayers for everyone who has been affected. We were made aware we cannot use this platform to assist in fees regarding to this case. The funds will only be used for needs of her and her daughter. We apologize if it came across this way. God bless everyone." I just wanted to, yeah, I understand that too, NorCal Jim. It seems like it seems like it, I understand exactly what you're saying. Heather says, I understand the family is suffering as well, but he took a life. He made that choice for himself and his family. Yep, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I understand that too. I just wanted to show that to you guys, and you guys can make up your own opinion about that, of course. Let me see here. Let me see if I had anything else that I wanted to show you guys. I do have something, a good something to tell you guys about the, you know how we always try to end on something good? I do have, let me make sure I don't have anything else about this case to tell you guys. We went over so much, you guys. Do you guys think that the I don't see how the and look at his dog, you guys. I was worried about this dog too, like what's going to happen to his dog? You know that that a canine handler, that usually it's just, you know, they have one handler and their dog, so I wonder what's going to happen to the dog is what I was thinking, you know. And here he is again with his dog. I know that's the least of it, you guys, but you guys know how I feel about animals. But what do you guys think about the lawsuit? Do you think that I don't see how it couldn't have something to do with this. Do you guys, being that the deposition was 4 days before all of this? I just don't see how it they couldn't be connected. So, okay, now you guys, to end on a good note, let me stop sharing this. I have to tell you guys something about, you guys, most of you guys know my friend Thistle, right? Hey, Jan Rocks, it's good to see you. How are you? Thank you so much for coming by. Thank you so very much. You're bringing them in, Chris. No, it's good to see you guys. So you guys know my friend Thistle, right? She comes in here a lot, and you guys have seen her around the streets and stuff. Well, this past summer she went up this mountain, and I can't say the name of the mountain. I'll show you guys. Let me get down here and show you guys. And when she went to the top of this mountain, she called us and FaceTimed us, and I couldn't believe that she had service up there. And most of you guys know, but if you don't know, I'm paraplegic now for many years. I was on my way to work, and I hit some black ice and it left me paraplegic. But so Thistle calling me on top of this mountain was so special, because I thought that I would never be able to get to a top of a mountain like this, you know. And she oh, how sweet, Astro. Aaliyah, hi Aaliyah, how are you? She's not in here, Jim. I can just she's probably listening at work. But yeah, so she FaceTimed us, you guys, and I could see over, we were above the clouds, and you could see for miles. And like I wasn't a hiking person even before I got hurt. Like, yeah, Brad, I asked her if I could share this earlier, and she said that I could. But we could see above the clouds, and you could see for miles, see the other mountains, and it was just so special. And at the top of this mountain, there's a guest book, and you could sign your names, and she signed all of our names, and it was so very sweet. I will, Jan. I sure will. I sure will tell Case. She hasn't been feeling well, but I talked to her a lot. Thank you. I sure will. And so she signed all of our names in that book, and it was just so special. And I will never forget that, because her thinking to include us at a time like that, and to to call us when she got up there. I'm getting teary-eyed, you guys. It was just so sweet because her thinking to do that for us, and I didn't think I would be able to see something like that, But what I'm going to show you guys is that now it's a possibility. She shared this with me the other day. So it is a possibility now. This lady, it says, after life-changing injuries, Utah County teen successfully summits Mount Timpanogos. Let me see here. Don't tell anybody that I got teary-eyed, you guys. Keep that between us. It's a total secret. Hey, Thistle. It's good to see you. Oh. After life-changing injuries, Utah County teen, and then it meant a lot to me, you guys, that she would think and send this article to me too. But it says, in the spirit of strength, determination, and pursuing what could be deemed as impossible, Emily Traveler took the challenge head on and completed a successful hike of Mount Timpanogos. The 14-mile trek comes more than 2 years after Traveler lost use of her hands and legs due to an ATV rollover crash that resulted in a spinal cord injury. You guys know, I was telling Foxy the other day that I read this stat somewhere that 18,000 people a year get hurt, right? Have spinal cord injuries. And that's exactly what it is. She is. She totally is. I love you too, Thistle. Thank you. I was telling Foxy that I read these stats that 18,000 people a year get hurt, right? And that it was unlucky that I was one of the 18,000, but 300,000 people are living right now in the United States with spinal cord injury. And I am lucky to be one of the 300,000 still living. You have to look at it that way too, guys. And at least, also it says that Traveler lost total use of her hands and legs, and I can move down to my knees pretty well, you guys, and I can get, it only takes me about 30 extra seconds to get in and out of my car, and that's really the only, well, there's probably other differences, but that's the only difference that I can think of. I still have hand controls and I still get myself around and do what I really want to do. So I'm lucky for that, But it says the accident may have left her wheelchair bound, but she is committed to staying as physically active as her situation will allow. After all, prior to the crash, she was a cheerleader at American Fork High School and took part in a plethora of other school athletic programs. It says she summited the mountain with the help of over a dozen volunteers and an adaptive mobility device. In the early morning hours of September 14th, Traveler, her relatives, and around 30 other family and friend volunteers met at the base of the trailhead to begin the hike. Of those, 13 men took turns carrying Traveler up the daunting mountain and back down using a mobile cart from Huckleberry Hiking. It was pretty rocky, but we made it, and we had a lot of support. Like, without all the men there, we could have never made it, Traveler said. And I told Thistle, I said, we don't need 13 men to go up the mountain. She took us, right? We just need a thistle to take us. Oh, it said, the group began to ascend the mountain just before 4:30 a.m., stopping every 2 hours for rest. The high elevation climb sparked concerns for temperature regulation, but fortunately the weather conditions proved to be just right for the task at hand. That's another thing, you guys. With a spinal cord injury, you have trouble controlling your temperature. So sometimes I'll have a blanket on my legs and an ice pack under my neck. I try to even myself out. So that I didn't even think about that, but that's another thing they had to keep an eye out on. But it says the group ultimately prevailed, though Traveler admits to having her reservations about the adventure. I had a little bit of doubt because it's a really long hike, and all of these people are pulling and pushing me up there, she said. I thought that this lady, that she was so brave because I don't know that I could put my very life into the hands of 13 men. I mean, JK, but like not really JK. You know what I'm saying? But it says the entire journey, climbing to the peak of the mountain and trek back down, took about 12 hours. Summiting Mount Tippanagos was a goal traveler set for herself that she mentally and physically prepared for. But even amid her brief skepticism, the teamwork made her dream come alive overlooking Utah Valley. It was really neat because everybody was so excited, and even people that weren't in our group, everybody on the mountain just started cheering. It was an exciting moment to actually make it. Carrie, Emily's mom, said reaching the top of Mount was an emotional moment that came with a lesson learned about the acceptance of help from others. We kind of talked to the whole group about how, especially in our society, a lot of us carry a lot of burdens because we don't want anyone to know what we're going through, she said. And Emily's a really good example of being vulnerable and recognizing that she couldn't do that by herself and letting others help her. That's my problem, you guys. I will not ask for help. And even if others offer it, it's hard for me to accept it sometimes. Like if I'm in the store and I can't reach something on the top shelf, I will grab a broom, or I will use a wrapping paper that I find, a roll of wrapping paper or a toilet paper roll to get it down for myself because I don't even want to ask. But that's another good lesson because a lot of people like to help others, it makes them feel good. So, and I will use something and knock the item down and give myself a concussion when it hits me in the head because I'm too stubborn to ask for help, you know? Tippanagos, is that it, Brad? Oh, Tippanogos. Okay, yeah, Tippanogos. Let's see here. Taking on one of the highest peaks in Utah might seem intimidating to even the most avid backcountry enthusiasts, but Carrie Traveler said the fact that her daughter adopted the mindset to challenge herself to effort the hike is a testament in itself. A lot of times we're so nervous to start something that's a little bit scary or a little bit daunting, but if you truly pursue it and it's your dream, you can never fail, she said. Ogus. Oh, I give up, you guys. The mother and daughter duo hope the recent trek will serve as inspiration for others to boldly chase their dreams. You might have setbacks, but I told Emily, who succeeded by being willing to start, Carrie Traveler stated. And so I think that's where we get held up. The journey is actually the most important part of any challenge. She said there's already interest from others about doing another hike next summer. Emily Traveler said for now she's taken time to allow her body to heal in between booking public speaking engagements and being an advocate for adaptive sports, but she isn't opposed to any future hikes, possibly on another trail or mountain. How sweet was that, you guys? I thought that was something really, a really good ending for us. And no, thank you guys all for being here with me today and listening about what I had to say. And I will keep you guys updated about Tuesday and also today. He has by the end of the day today to resign, or either the governor is going to start the process of removing him. So I'll keep you guys updated about that, and also about what happens in court on Tuesday. Chris says, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Yes, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys here next week. And thank you so very much for coming to hang out with me. And be on the lookout for Monday for the community prayer post too, and any updates before I come back, I'll leave them there. Yeah, we need to take a vote, you guys, and also figure out what we're going to name the cat and the dog. We need to take votes on that. We don't have Coco anymore, so we need new names. Okay, I love you all. And remember to say your prayers and take your vitamins. And I love you all, and I'll see you next time. God bless you all. Bye-bye.